Welcome to the year end of DC Comics, the best of 2012. We're here in Seattle, Washington, Zanadu Comics. I'm Casey.
I'm Morgan.
And we bring you DC Comics. We picked 7 categories this year. There's Best New Series, Best Continuing Series, Best Artist, Best Writer, Best Miniseries, and Best Single Issue. And this
as well as Best Original Graphic Novel.
And Best Original Graphic Novel, thank you. And this is all for artists and writers who work for DC specifically, so we're going to keep it kind of just stuck to one publisher, DC and Vertigo, for this video. But yeah, so let's start with, I guess, I don't know, we'll do the best original graphic novel.
Original graphic novel?
Start with that.
Well, as far as DC goes, I have to go with The Judas Coin by Walt Simonson.
We both had to go with The Judas Coin. I mean, to be fair, DC isn't doing a lot of original graphic novels.
Didn't have much competition.
Yeah.
There was Superman Earth 1 Volume 2 and Batman Earth 1 Volume 1.
So, it's Walt Simonson compared to those guys.
You have Walt Simonson doing a manga style on the back of it. He changes his style up so many times for each segment of the story. It's remarkable. He's really just demonstrating that, all these years, I'm still better than every single one of you.
No, it's true. I mean, a lot of people lose it after however many years, but Walt Simonson's been able to just like you said, prove that he's still really badass. And this whole,
the Batman segment was...
Yeah, the Batman segment with Two-Face, he did it all kind of like almost like a newspaper strip.
Yeah, why don't you just check that out?
I could see some of that, but yeah. That's right, feel the Walt Simonson goodness. But yeah, the best part is definitely got to be the Walt Simonson doing this manga stuff, which is just crazy. I mean, it's really cool that somebody who is, you think of in such a classic style.
Oh yeah, what do you think of Walt Simonson? You think classic 80s Thor, X Factor, very, very American.
Very American, yeah. And for him to do that, it was just, I don't know, and it was at the end, it's only like 10 or 15 pages, and it's Manhunter. It's just badass. He's on like from friggin' Space Casino. Just totally cool with giant
And there's a
babies.
Giant baby. Giant Walt Simonson manga baby.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I don't know if we need to say anything more about that. No, definitely not.
Best graphic novel of the year,
Original
2012
novel,
DC.
DC Comics, yeah. So next one, I don't know, you want to do, we'll do the best miniseries,
alright,
I guess, this week, and what did you pick this week here?
I chose another one by a classic artist, Batman Odyssey.
We both picked this one because, do you see that? That's a pterodactyl. You see who's writing that?
Batman! Batman is on a pterodactyl! He fights pretty much his entire, rogues gallery. He fights cavemen, he fights trolls, he yells at people about chemistry. You get a full page of Batman yelling at people about chemistry, man. There's nothing that Batman will not yell at you about in this comic. Neil Adams, this is pure unbridled creativity going on right here.
It's true. I mean, it's really proof that Neil Adams is batshit insane, but that's okay. I mean, it totally works.
After doing what he's done, you can be insane.
Yeah.
God damn.
It's true. I mean, there's everything from which, you immediately open the book, and the first thing that you see, half-naked Batman.
Marry a half-naked Batman.
Because that's what he loves to draw about Batman. The thing I loved about the old stories with him is that he was fighting Ra's al Ghul with no shirt on for what
macho
reason?
Is all
super
hell,
macho,
man.
sabers to the death, and with the cowl on. And you know that he banged Talia after that with the cowl on, because that's what makes Batman sexy. Nobody's into Bruce Wayne, they're into Batman. For sure.
Except, all the people that are into Bruce Wayne.
Well, that's because he's got a lot of money.
He does have quite a bit of money.
But yeah.
Oh yeah, and then shirtless Bruce Wayne threatening you with climbing tools. My god. And you've got shirtless Bruce Wayne going on and on about his awesome Keurig coffee maker.
Yeah. We're not making this up, no. This is really what happens.
100% truth.
Yeah, halfway through the series, though, they made him put a t-shirt on Bruce Wayne in the beginning. I probably
Dan Didio was probably getting uncomfortable with
he
Batman's
was.
hairy chest.
Yeah, because it was a seriously hairy chest, but I mean...
He rides giant bats,
he
too,
rides
not just
giant
pterodactyls.
bats, yeah, and there's prehistoric Robin as well. See, this is him, and he puts a friggin' Green Lantern t-shirt on, because what other...
yeah, and what about that time when Batman, you know, kind of just went and blew up Robin? He blew him up.
He doesn't need him anymore.
I shit you not. He pressed a big red button and blew up Robin.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he killed a dude too. This guy's arm isn't attached anymore.
It's not.
Oh, man.
And there's giant animals with, like, machine guns and various other weaponry and shit.
A race of Cyclopses, and I'm pretty sure he beats one of them by reciting a really, really awful pun. He makes it ask him, what's a hen weigh? Honestly now.
So,
honestly.
Two classic artists. One, Walt Simonson went one way, Neil Adams went the other and took a left turn to, you know, crazy.
I wouldn't
Both
have had
are
it
awesome.
any other way.
Not any other way. We'll do, I guess, Best Writer?
Best Writer?
DC?
Alright,
And
what
did
you
we,
got here for Best Writer,
Man,
Casey?
let's see, I went with Brian Azzarello.
Oh,
and
you went with Brian
I
Azzarello
think,
too?
you know, good minds think alike, and you know.
Oh, man.
But really, anybody that can make... I mean, I made this decision based on Wonder Woman. I am not the biggest Wonder Woman fan. I mean, I don't know. She's been around forever, and some people just love her to death. Like, they're just Wonder Woman devotees. But I've never been one of them. I've never been really able to get behind her. But this, it's like a mythic crime comic. You know? I mean, Brian Azzarello was the last person that I thought would write a good
ever
Wonder Woman.
touch Wonder Woman.
No, I mean, he's known for degenerate drug dealers and you know, skeevy conspiracy dudes with bullets and untraceable guns.
So
and all
many
sorts of
bullets.
things.
Hundreds
Yeah.
of them.
Hundreds of bullets.
A whole 100 of them.
And, like, you know, westerns and whatever stuff, but no, I mean, he really makes it work. And, you know, they fudged her origin again, and, you know, there's could be things that
But
you
it's
could...
a reboot.
Yeah, but it's
There's
a reboot.
room for fudging.
Exactly. And the fact that Cliff Chiang drew this as well, you know, you're getting this really nice, you know, almost cartoony feel, but it's like dark cartoon, you know, it's I don't know, it's hard to
And it's
describe.
really, there are so many actual elements of Greek art that he uses in his illustration that, like, the way he does Zeus's hair and even Wonder Woman's, it's all like,
Yeah.
it has a very classical feel to it.
No, it really does. But yeah, it's really cool, and like I said, there's a lot of pulling from the mythos of, you know, the pantheon of gods, stuff like that. And yeah, it's just, you know, really unexpected, and just proves that Brian Azzarello can do more than just crime stuff.
He essentially writes the Greek pantheon as a crime family.
Yeah.
As a gigantic Greek god mafia.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. That's a really good way to put it.
And the other thing that really amazes me about this title is just the wordplay that he gets in. The amount of mileage he gets out of god-based puns is just unbelievable.
I think we're seeing a theme here with the power of puns.
Man.
You know, I mean, Giant Poseidon.
Not to mention Tony
Cerebus.
Akins, who I honestly haven't seen much work from before. I don't think I've ever seen a comic they've drawn before this, but...
Well, he did Jack of Fables.
Oh, you see, I didn't follow that.
Yeah, he was Jack of Fables.
He is blowing this out of the water.
Yeah,
like,
he did a really good job filling in.
If you're gonna get someone that you have to have follow Cliff Chiang, this man is just killing it.
Yeah. And also, another book from Brian Azzarello, which we'll talk about more as well, Spaceman. This is more kind of, I guess, what you would expect from him, but we'll get back to that.
Alright, now if we hit Best Writer, why don't we go straight ahead to Best Artist?
Oh, we still gotta do Vertigo.
We haven't done Vertigo for any of the other ones
Alright,
yet.
cool. Fine, we'll do Best Artist for DC. What are you picking?
Me? Alright.
Oh, you gotta get the crack here.
I have to distract myself.
Confer.
Alright. So, I know that before Watchmen has been rather controversial, but it is completely undeniable that Jay Lee is doing some of the best work of his life on this art.
It's true. At least in, like, a decade. At least.
This, like, his layouts, the way he uses... he completely tears apart the 9-panel grid the Watchmen used and reconstructs it into this beautiful, like, circle-based storytelling.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, which is common in, apparently, Egyptian art as well, which I was told by an artist friend of mine. But yeah, so he's using, like, traditional Egyptian stylings of things, and
his use of motion through silhouettes here?
Oh, man.
Oh, my God!
I know. The joke that I have with this is Jay Lee hasn't drawn backgrounds in like 10 years. And while his Dark Tower stuff, I mean, it was nice, but it all had that like Photoshop wash in the back. The way you get the man to draw backgrounds is you pay him Watchmen money. Yeah. Watchmen money equals backgrounds.
Watchmen money will get you anything you need out of these guys.
It's true. But yeah, Jay Lee has just been rocking it really hard on
the tone that he sets with his art is just unbelievable. Oh, and there's a nice little prisoner nod here. The name of this shop front is Port Marion, which was, of course, the name of the location where they shot the village.
That's right. See, talk about the prisoner. So, for my pick, I had to go with perhaps one of my absolute, well, no, he is one of my favorite artists of all time, and perhaps one of the greatest living artists right now, J.H. Williams. This man, talk about transcending the 9-panel grid. He's beyond that shit. I mean, he's just like, what?
He tore that down years ago.
Yeah, he's like, panels? They have panels in comic books? I mean, yeah. Not since, like, the early 2000s has he been doing panels. But this book is continuing, the Batwoman story that him and Greg Rucka had come up with for Detective Comics at the end of last year. And it suffers a little on the story part because Greg Rucka is such a good writer, and when you have an artist who's putting this much effort into the art, something's going to drop a little. But it makes up for it in the sheer, storytelling ability of the visual medium. I mean, something like this, where half of the stuff is like these big two-page spreads that just, they really make you rethink how you can do comics, and like working in these like ideas of there's this water woman, and so its panels are all very flowy and watery and stuff.
And another thing that I love about that series is just that it's again sort of what Brian Azzarello is doing with the mythology aspect, but he's taking the urban aspect of mythology, and he's really turning like all these urban legends into credible threats.
Yeah,
like sort of he's building a rose gallery for Batwoman out of urban legends.
No, you're absolutely right. And they're cool, and they're not like, Bigfoot and whatever stuff.
No, it's like the sewer alligators and ten-eyed sewer gators and hook-handed men. It's
right.
The gritty, like, grindhouse urban legends.
For sure. And it's cool because it works Chase who's the DEO character that he created back in the 90s, who is one of the best female characters that I think DC has.
Yeah, and he's using Director Bones, too. He managed to save Director Bones from the DC reboot limbo.
I know. And the fact that he does Batwoman, he has a different style for when Batwoman's in costume, and then when she's in Katie Kane. And it's just amazing, like, everything Batwoman is all this, like, painted Copic marker, really darky kind of trippiness, and then when it's Katie Kane, it's these really nice, almost flat colors.
Yes, the flats that... Oh, who's doing colors on this book?
Dave Stewart. I mean, do we need to say more? Dave Stewart, he colors all sorts of stuff. And this just goes to show like how much color really does affect a comic.
Especially later on into the series, once they really do start getting the whole mythology storyline going with Medusa. Bring in Medusa, which ties into Wonder Woman, which is just like I never would have thought that Batwoman and Wonder Woman would have had an amazing crossover, but they did it.
It works totally well.
But every single Medusa, the way that she's colored it's a softer, like, she almost looks like radiant. Almost. She looks like she's a glow-in-the-dark figure or something.
It's amazing what that man does. It's kind of scary.
I know.
It's really kind of scary. Yeah.
Where are we going now?
So good. Let's go with
Best continuing series?
Sure. What'd you go for DC this year?
I had my fallen comrade Omak here.
Did not survive the axe.
Who would have thought that the best, well, in my opinion, the best series out of the entire DC reboot would have been written by Dan Didio?
Not me.
All of the crap that people have flung at Dan Didio over anything that has gone wrong at DC.
Yeah.
Any gripe that anyone has, they will pin it on Dan Didio. But then he goes and he publishes what is possibly one of the most pure comic books that is still being put out by DC at this point.
You got to give huge props though to Keith Giffen. You got to wonder where the line where Dan Didio and
Really,
Keith
it's
Giffen.
completely possible that he was just carrying Didio on here, but I like to think that they both just have such a love for comic books that they managed to pull something like this out. It is the only comic that I know of that is delivering issue by issue, single story tales, like, and all tying it together to form like this great web of like they're using so many different Kirby ideas and. They're bringing in Max Lord, and there's hints at, like, Ted Kord, the Blue Beetle, who fans have been asking back for, like...
years since he got shot by Max Lord, yeah.
Which Dan Didio, of course, also
Gets
had...
blamed for.
Yeah.
And that's funny, too, because, like, Keith Giffen, those were his characters. And, like, they just, like, I guess a couple of years ago, just started killing off all his characters.
Yeah.
And for him to work with the guy that killed off most of his characters...
It really shows you that sometimes you need to put the characters aside and just not get tangled up in all the continuity of it and just make good comics.
No, it's true. It's true. Yeah.
Really, I just thought one of the most unfortunate cancellations of
recent you gotta
years.
wonder, like, what gets canceled, what doesn't, you know, I mean, I don't know. But yeah, Keith Giffen. Mac, did you see
while
that
it lasted, I enjoyed it
friggin'
so
Mohawk is badass.
So much.
Yeah. My pick for best continuing series was Batwoman again. I don't know if I need to go over it, but yeah, this has been my favorite, for sure. For sure. Let's do best new series.
Yeah, what you got there?
Well, and again, I guess you could fault me because it's kind of new, but not really. Batman Incorporated, which is the continuation of Batman Incorporated, but with a shiny new #1 and a zero. But it's friggin' Grant Morrison Batman.
I know.
And
Grant Morrison's been telling such a
it's just an amazing story.
Saga.
You know,
it is a full-blown saga, and he's exploring so many different aspects of the Batman mythology with it.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like, it's what Bendis didn't do with the Avengers over 8 years, and what Morrison has been able to do in, it's been almost 8?
Almost.
You know, I don't know, like 6 maybe? Something like that.
He's taking him to so many different places.
I mean, you went from the fact that Batman Incorporated, that he had the idea to make it big like he did the X-Men, where it was a huge corporation across the entire world, and that you could almost like buy protection from the X-Men. I mean, Batman Incorporated, Bruce Wayne is giving you this shit free, you know? I mean, he's putting a Batman on every block so that you could feel safe at night. And, I mean, that could even be where, in Kingdom Come. Remember how Batman, there was all those bat armies and everything.
He has the Batbots
and he has
in
the
Batman
Batbots,
Incorporated.
You know? I mean, and the man made Batmite back into continuity. It was a drug hallucination, or was it? You don't know when you're reading these comics. I mean, yeah. And
the fact that during Final Crisis, and this technically isn't this year, but I was just talking about this with one of my friends, the fact that during Final Crisis, Batman beat an alien god construct simply because of the fact that no one else can handle being Batman but Batman.
Yeah, it's so badass. And
this is just keeping it going.
Yeah, the whole series, because the art on the last series, they had to hop different artists just to keep,
just to keep it coming out somewhat on time, and even then it was delayed horrendously.
And Chris Burnham is just got this great, like, almost Frank Quitely style with all these little lines and stuff. But it reminds me of Aaron Cooter too, who's doing good stuff these days.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's just like really energetic and fun, and they just did another Damian 666 issue, which was my favorite one by far. But yeah, it's, Batman, Grant Morrison, this is what's up for best new series.
Alright, and my pick here, however, was Earth 2, which is set actually not in the DC reboot universe, but in an alternate Earth within the greater DC reboot multiverse.
Have they plotted that out yet? Have they plotted the multiverse?
They haven't really shown how it works, but I don't think it's necessary at this point. James Robinson is perhaps one of the most underrated writers that DC has working for them.
Well, it's tough because he's kind of, for me, he's hit or miss. I mean, like, Starman was amazing.
Starman was amazing.
Great.
I thought his Justice League run recently was shaping up to be fantastic. He had Kongorilla, he had the Blue Starman, he had Supergirl, he had Dick Grayson Batman.
Didn't they get cut, though?
It got cut with the reboot.
Yeah.
Of course. But this is him doing another big team superhero book, which I love, and he's He deserves so much applause for that.
Yeah.
And he's also got Nicholas Scott, who has one of the best classical styles right now in superhero comics, and she's killing it. She's great.
Really good. She was good on Birds of Prey.
She was great on Secret Six.
And Secret Six, which was awesome. The Gail Simone stuff. Yeah. So yeah, that was
really a quality series there. It's
really
just good classic superhero stuff, and he's doing new things with the old JSA characters who are like, JSA is one of my favorite legacy books ever.
Me too, absolutely. You know, like the Justice League teaches you how to punch shit in the face, and then the JSA teaches you how to be a hero, like a real hero.
And to be a family of heroes.
A family of heroes, exactly.
It's beautiful stuff, really.
Alright, and for best single issue this year from DC, I went with another Batman book, Batman and Robin. Now, honestly, I don't normally read this. I mean, I like Peter Tomasi. I stopped kind of reading it after Grant Morrison did it, and I know you've still been a big fan.
Yeah, but I'll admit that it has been bogged down by what Scott Snyder has been doing. It has to follow along with the overarching Batman franchise story.
Yeah, but this issue, like, alright, Damian is one of my favorite things from Morrison's Batman. And why? Because he's like a 4-foot badass assassin at age 13, or however age he is. And this whole issue, this Zero issue, which has been like, you know, the kind of out of continuity, or well, not out of continuity, but get caught up kind of issues, is all Damian, all the time, with, like, fighting giant man-bat ninjas with big swords and submachine guns and all sorts of really badass stuff. It kind of goes through the history of, you know, Damian and Talia raising him to be the badass assassin that he is. But Patrick Gleason just kills it with his, like, thick, you know, style and the way that he... Like, there's this one panel here, this is such a great panel, where he's jumping from the plane with the giant submachine guns, and he's just laying waste to people, and there's dropping like flies. I mean, this was just so much fun, and it reminds me of... Again, what superhero comics can be when you just let them be one issue. You don't have to be part of all this stuff, you know? I mean, it's just really... It was great. It was a lot of fun. Violence, you know, Damian.
And while Casey chose somewhat of a beginning for his best issue of the year, I chose the final issue of OMAC. OMAC, issue 8. They knew they were getting canceled. You don't be Dan Didio and not know that your comic is getting canceled.
No, it's
so you know what they did? They just threw everything they had at it. They had OMAC take down Max Lord's base. They threw giant monsters, superpowered soldiers. Oh my god, Max Lord flew away like the supervillain that he is in a rocket ship with a giant monster clinging to the top of it.
What?
It was amazing.
That sounds
awesome.
It was amazing. It was all Keith Giffen art, right?
And it was all Keith Giffen art. Keith Giffen drawing just pages and pages of OMAC trashing dudes.
Yeah.
That is all I want.
Yeah.